Welcome back to the Spread Pick'em Show with Mike and Andrew. It's the divisional round of the NFL season. Andrew, how are you doing? We got Doug Peterson out as the Eagles head coach. I think it was shocking to everybody, but as an Eagles fan yourself, how are you feeling about that?
Very, very, very shocked. I'm pretty sure before the Washington game, all that stuff came out that Doug Peterson's job was safe. So, I felt pretty comfortable whatever he wanted to do there. Put Nate Sudfeld in the game. I felt pretty confident that no matter what he did, he was going to stay. So it was pretty shocking, especially now that I look up and down that head coach list. I don't know if there's a better head coach out there than Doug Peterson. I really don't, unless you're going to hire some college guy that's brand new. But other than that, I don't really know who else you're going to get.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Doug Peterson, the problem is, of course, losing the respect of some of your players. And I think some of that might be overblown. Like there was the report of people were coming after him after the game. I don't fully believe all that stuff. And I think one of your players, it might have been Kelsey, came on and said that wasn't really true. So I don't really know what to believe. But when you lose respect of certain players, I honestly feel like he was a fall guy and kind of a scapegoat because honestly, I feel like it was ownership and I feel like it was the GM Roseman who wanted to lose that game. Like, I don't know if Doug Peterson himself wanted to lose that game. Maybe he did. Maybe he was the mastermind behind the whole thing. But if he wasn't sure his job was secure, which is what I always thought because we had that report, I think, that morning of his job was safe, I don't think he would have thrown that game on purpose. I really think that's
Yeah,
like an ownership type thing. So maybe he got screwed. That's the way I look at it. And like, you're not going to fire the owner, obviously. You could have fired the GM who is underwhelming. I mean, what's your thoughts on Howie Roseman, like the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years or so?
he's a rough drafter, man. He takes a lot of risks instead of taking the best available. He does a lot of that reaching stuff, taking big potential guys. He does a lot of some weird stuff, but I don't know what to think of it. I've seen reports of Doug Peterson talking to Troy Aikman and saying how he wanted to move forward with Hurts and Lurie wanted to get Wentz fixed. So that could be it too. I don't know why you fire him over that. Kind of just tell him, ease it into Wentz. I'm not really sure, but I felt like Doug Peterson and Roseman. I always felt like they were kind of against each other in a way. I don't know why. I felt like maybe at the end they might have been pointing fingers, and Lurie went with Roseman over Peterson. Not really sure, but I don't know. I don't know.
No, I could see why Lurie wants Wentz to work because when you give him all that, stupid amount of money, you're
Yeah.
like, well, what am I doing here? We got to get this guy fixed. So I get it. And you're paying Jalen Hurts, what, like probably a little over $1 million. So like it's not like there's a big difference there, obviously. Where do you think the Eagles go with quarterback next year? Do you think it's Hurts or do you think now that Peterson's gone that they bring Wentz back? Do they both come back? Like where do you see it going as a
Uh,
fan?
I really don't know. I just, it's really a tough position, right? It's odd because they could trade Wentz, obviously that's been on the board, or they can trade Hurts, which hasn't really been talked about. I don't know if I see them trading Hurts necessarily. Honestly, at this point in time, I think it's a little uneasy going back to Wentz. He's just been through so much with the organization, so many bad things. And to bring him in, if you're going to bring him in with Jalen Hurts, I feel like that's not going to work. So honestly, if you get him, trade him this year because I feel like if you play him another year, he might decrease trade value. Maybe you can get a first round out of him this year. I don't know. Maybe they draft a QB this year. There is just so much to think about as a Philadelphia Eagles fan right now. And I feel like we're going into a 5, 6 year rebuild, if I'm being completely honest. This is a
5 or
tank job.
6? Oh
This
my
is a
God.
tank job.
I don't know if it'll take that long, buddy. I hope not for your sake. I mean, you're young, but still, I don't want a 5 or 6 year
Yeah.
rebuild for anybody. Honestly, I don't really see a way they can bring both of those guys back, from my
Yeah.
opinion at least, because it's such like an awkward thing. Because you had one guy start like 5 games, the other guy was like this guy paid like a franchise quarterback and played like garbage. So I don't know how you bring both of them back. How about this idea for you? I know you love this guy. What
Oh,
if
here
they
we go.
trade both of them and they draft Trey Lance
Mm,
at 6?
that would be very. I mean, that would just complete the roller coaster, wouldn't it? This whole season,
Yeah.
just completely clean house and draft another quarterback. I don't know if you get rid of Doug Peterson if you're going to do that. That's the only problem with me. If you get rid of Doug Peterson, you're kind of saying like, okay, we're going to go one way that Doug Peterson doesn't want to go. I will say this: if they're going to stick with Hurts, they better get Lincoln Riley on board. I want Lincoln Riley in here, the head coach of Oklahoma. I don't know if he's going to come over there, but if there's anybody I want with Jalen Hurts, it's him.
I need to object because why would he leave there and come to this garbage situation where the
That's a
GM
great
can't
question, Mike.
draft
That was
and
fantastic.
I don't know, from his perspective, I get where you're coming from because it makes sense with the quarterback connection. But if I'm him, I'm like, well, why the hell? You have to pay me like $500 million to have that happen. And I don't think the Eagles are doing that. So, my next question was going to be, who do you want to be the Eagles' next head coach? Do you have a preference or maybe a couple names in mind you're interested in?
I would. I mean, at this point, I don't really like any of the guys that are like have been head coaches before. I think you go new head coach, a guy that's never had head coaching experience before. I don't think you go like Todd Bowles. I saw he interviewed. I don't think you go with I forget the old line, Jim Caldwell, or any of those guys. I think you either go with a college guy or maybe a guy like a Joe Brady. I mean, Joe Brady is pretty interesting. Eric Bieniemy, even though I've heard his interviews have been pretty rough. Just some type of offensive mind. You can't go defense. That's where I disagree. If you're going to fire, if you expect to get Carson Wentz fixed, you need to go an offensive head coach. And I see them, Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, I see him there. I don't know if I would go with the defensive guy. I don't think it makes sense. So an offensive guy, preferably someone from college, if I'm being honest. Maybe a Ryan Day from Ohio State. He has connections to the Eagles. Lincoln Riley, as I mentioned before, he has connections with Howie Roseman, the GM. So who knows? Who knows?
I heard that Robert Saleh had a second interview with the Jets today, and honestly, I felt like the
Yeah.
Jets might have given him a contract on the spot. But apparently, he's interviewing with the Eagles now, right, or something tomorrow,
Yeah, he
maybe,
is.
right? So there's a chance, and I do agree with you, but I don't know about like defense or offense, but I do agree the Eagles need to go young. Like they cannot have a
Yeah.
head coach that's like a win now type head coach, like. I remember my Nets did this with this head coach named Lionel Hollins, who was like this 60-something-year-old former Grizzlies head coach. He did not fit well with this team at all. I feel like you guys need a young coach, and like maybe I think Joe Brady would be a nice fit, like another offensive mind. Doug Peterson, I think, would be a nice fit for the Jets. You know, second overall
Yeah.
quarterback coming in because I don't think Peterson's that bad of a coach. I mean, does he do a lot of stupid crap and bring analytics over the top? Yes, but like from like putting up points and all that, which is his responsibility for his play calling, the Eagles have been pretty good at that. You know what I mean? And he
Yeah.
made Carson Wentz a pretty much near MVP, won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. It says a lot about your offense. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Jets and the Eagles and all these teams that need coaches, but there's a lot of speculation, interesting stuff about it. But with all that said, we'll get into the games now. So the first game, which I think is 4:25 on Saturday, the Los Angeles Rams coming off that win against Seattle at the Green Bay Packers, who had the NFC bye. The Packers are a -7 right now. I think I told you this is the game we disagree on. Actually, no, I didn't tell you, but yeah, we disagree on this game. You're going to take the Rams, and I'm going to take the Packers here.
So I guess when Andrew has a good week, we just, like to skip the recap, but it's
Oh
okay.
yes, that's actually true. No, no, you're right. No, no, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. I just completely forgot. Yeah, I had a point last week where I was 0-4, which was awful. But yeah, you got the Colts win against Buffalo. They lost by how much? They lose by three, four,
Three. Yeah.
three. Yeah, so you got that win there. It was a -6.5. I got the loss with the Seahawks. They outright lost the game and they were favored. You got the Rams there. A good pick with John Wolford for 5 plays, and then broken thumb Goff came in there and did what he could. We lost by half a point with the Washington game, which was really annoying. Taylor Heineke almost came in and got us that spread dub, but unfortunately that was not the case. Lost by half a point. Baltimore at Tennessee. I hate myself for this one. You know why? Because I'm doing this. I'm doing one of those NFL like playoff fantasy things, like challenges, and like the goal to that is like to keep the draft players that you think are going to go a long way because like they double points like as
Yeah.
they go on. Basically, I think you know what I'm talking about. But I picked a lot of Ravens there, which makes me feel like in my heart I always thought the Ravens were going to win, but here I was picking the Titans. So I regretted it right away. And the Titans did go off. They got off to a 10-0 lead. So I mean, I was looking good at first, but then of course, the Ravens came back, which is a good thing because when the Ravens got down early last year, that's when they really got like flustered and had no idea what to do. This time they stuck with their game plan. They got the run going. So it was good to see some improvement from them. Then Chicago at New Orleans. I felt the best about that game. That was my favorite bet. I at least got that one right. That game kind of went exactly as I thought it would. The matchups for the Bears were terrible on offense. And yes, they should have had a touchdown when, what's that guy's name? Wims, the guy who punched Gardner Johnson in the face, Javon Wims, dropped that ball. So some karma for him. But yeah, they probably should have scored more points. And you know my friend BK, right? You know who that is?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
He had like a teaser with this game, and he basically won off that Jimmy Graham time expiring touchdown, the one handed
Mm,
catch. I was like, imagine being that lucky. But yeah, I wanted to tell you. Cleveland at Pittsburgh, we both took the Browns, who were underdogs, so that was an easy dub. The Steelers killed themselves on the first play. I mean, I cannot believe how that game went, and the Browns were just in prevent defense the whole game because they were up 28 nothing basically. So, crazy game. But yeah, I was happy to see my playoff team, the Browns, take that win there. All right, so now back to this game. You're going to take the Rams, and I'm going to take the Packers here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know, but I am currently 3 games back in this
Oh
series. And
yeah.
as you can see, each week the games are narrowing down here. We're down to 4 games this week. That's only 4 possible games I can go up. Have to take a chance here, but honestly, it's not one that I'm less confident with. I mean, this Rams defense can shut down offenses and good offenses, right? You saw last week they shut down Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf for basically the majority of that game, and they had to rely on no offense whatsoever. So they did that by themselves. They were able to stop that defense or stop that offense, I should say. And it does scare me a little bit, and I think that is actually inserted into the spread, which is why it is lower than I expected. I thought it would be higher, especially since the Rams couldn't really get anything going offensively last game, but it is -7 here. So I think the Rams can do it. The Packers, when they face good defenses, sometimes they get a little flustered, right? You lock down Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers really doesn't have that main guy to go to, really doesn't have that guy that he can rely on every single play. And as we know, Davante Adams will be on Jalen Ramsey. And Jalen Ramsey has been fantastic this year. He made some beautiful plays against the Seahawks, some really impressive ones where you could tell right away that guy is, deserves big money in the league. And obviously he's got paid already. So I'm going to go with the Rams here. Not necessarily so much a confidence pick, but I do believe in them. I've been sticking with them the whole year. So I'm going to stick with them here.
The thing I'm confident about in this game is that the Rams do not score a lot of points. Now, the
Yeah.
thing I'm concerned about is that the Packers' run defense is definitely vulnerable, and Cam Akers has been pretty good at the running back position for the Rams recently. So that's the one concern I have. But Jared Goff throwing the ball at Lambeau with the broken thumb and the cold conditions, I am not concerned about that at all. You have Kevin King, Jair Alexander playing good cornerback for the Packers now, and some good safety play by Amos and Savage. So I don't really see the Rams putting up a ton of points here and having one of those 35-point Sean McVay type games. I see the Packers winning this one like a low scoring game, like maybe an 18-10 or a 21-10 type score. Once again, if Cam Akers gets going, that puts a flaw in my entire game plan, if you will, here. But the cornerback and wide receiver matchups will be fun with Alexander and Robert Woods. You mentioned Davante Adams and Ramsey. And the Rams have another good corner. I forget the guy's name, but even the Rams secondary, they have that safety. I think it's John Johnson, who's a good player as well. So they have really good players in their secondary. So passing might be difficult in this matchup. It does help that Aaron Donald, of course, the best defensive player in football, is not 100% right now with the I don't know if it was a core injury or rib injury, but he's not 100% right now. He probably will play, but I will admit that the Rams defense is pretty scary. But if they're not getting a pass rush on Aaron Rodgers, which they might because David Bakhtiari is now out for the year, so we'll see how that affects them. But if they just keep Rodgers upright, I feel like he'll have enough time to find an open receiver, and they'll be able to score points. Robert Tonyan might have a big game in this one as well. Maybe they find a way to get Aaron Jones involved in the passing games. I feel like I just trust the Packers offense a lot more. I think they're the much better team. And I think the Packers are not a perfect team. I think they are vulnerable in some areas like the run defense, as I mentioned, but I just trust them. I don't know. I mean, it could be stupid, but I'll take the Packers for this. I think they win in a very low-scoring game. I'll just call it 21-10, 18-10. Next, we have Baltimore at Buffalo. Buffalo is a -2.5 at home. I think this will be a very good game, honestly. But we're both going to go with the Ravens here, the underdogs. I think the Ravens outright win this game. I don't know about you, though.
Yeah, I'm picking them with some winning confidence here. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going off of my playoff analysis from last week. I thought the Colts played exceptionally well against the Buffalo Bills. And honestly, I think the Ravens are an overall better team. Now, defensively, the Colts are better. But the good thing about the Ravens defense that you saw get exposed against Buffalo, the Colts defense get exposed against Buffalo, was their cornerbacks, right? They don't really have those cornerbacks on the Colts defense that can play up against receivers, and they weren't really getting a lot of pressure on Josh Allen. So he had all day to throw with some average cornerbacks covering guys like Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown. With the Ravens, you have some guys there that can actually hold on to their receivers for long periods of time, and you have a defensive line that can get some pressure. I think that's where Josh Allen starts to crumble a little bit. When he's got some hands in his face, that's when you start to see the old Josh Allen, the inaccurate Josh Allen, the guy that doesn't know what to do with the ball. That's why I think the Ravens are going to win this game. I think that their rush offense, obviously, it's the best in the NFL. Buffalo's been a little, under the radar, or not under the radar, I should say, a
Below
little
average.
below average with their run defense. So that's also a little scary. I just think this is an overall a Baltimore game, one that I actually might go with.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I was going to say, we get like, I remember Josh Allen's playoff game last year where he threw that terrible lateral and he made like so many stupid plays in that Texans
Yeah.
game last year. We saw one bad play from Allen where he tried to fight off a guy and fumbled the ball. He did get it back, or one of his linemen got it back. But Josh Allen's like always due for one really stupid play in the fourth quarter. And if this is a close game, I think the weather, by the way, is not so good for this game. I feel like it might be snowing. And if that's the case, I definitely love the Ravens here. Like, I don't know what the exact weather is. I don't know if you want to type it up for me real quick and look up the Buffalo weather for Sunday or Saturday. Yeah, Saturday night. But if it is snowing there and Josh Allen and the passing game will not be effective as it usually is, then I absolutely love the Ravens here. As Andrew said, they have the great corners in Smith, Humphrey, Marcus Peters. So, like, if they can stick with their guys for 3, 4, or 5 seconds and give some guys like Campbell and Judon and Yannick Ngakoue time to get to the quarterback, then I just feel like, I'm not going to say it's wraps, but I feel like it's going to be a really tough matchup as compared to the Colts because, as you mentioned, the Colts don't have great cornerbacks. I mean, Xavier Rhodes had a nice season. Rocky Sin is very inconsistent. So, like, look at the cornerback play from the Ravens and then look at the Colts, it's a much different story. So I think the pass rush is pretty good as well. The running game for Baltimore is the number one thing for me in this game. We talked about it before. You mentioned it, how the Buffalo's run defense has been pretty below average this year. And that's what Buffalo wants to do. Buffalo is the type of defense that doesn't want to give up big plays. They'll let you take the 4, 5, 3 yards every time. And that's what Baltimore wants to do. They want to run the ball, the read options, and some of the RPO, stuff like that. Get J.K. Dobbins going, and Lamar Jackson will get going in this game. So I feel like if the Ravens get 250 rushing yards in this game or do something crazy, I just don't see how the Bills actually match that. I mean, they do have a good offense, but as I mentioned, I do trust the Ravens defense. The Ravens have the better defense. I feel like both offenses, I mean, while they're different, of course, because Buffalo passes a lot more, they're both kind of equally explosive in a way, especially against the bad run defense for the Ravens. So I'm going to go with Baltimore here. I think they're going to make the Super Bowl. I'm sticking with it. So I'm going to go with Baltimore to win this game, cover the spread. Do you have the weather, Andrew?
Yeah, meteorologist Andrew is coming in with the weather. So it's supposed to be below freezing with
Okay.
no sun. It's going to feel like low 20s because of the no sun. Lots of wind
Okay.
and a 50% chance of snow.
What is the wind? Like, does it tell you miles per hour wise or no?
It's projecting 10 to 15, which is that's a
Mm.
lot. That's for
No, once it
kickers in the
gets
snow.
it's kickers, yes. But once you get to like 25, 30, that's when I start to
Yeah.
care. But if it's 15, I'm like, whatever. Josh Allen has a freaking cannon. It's not going to really affect him. All right. On to Sunday's games. We have the Cleveland Browns coming off that beat down there at the KC Chiefs. Kansas City is a -10 at home. We're both going to go with the Browns here. So tell us why you're going to go with the Browns.
Yeah, I'm a little confused at this spread, if I'm being completely honest with you. Towards the end of the season, the Chiefs were not playing great football. They were actually playing in some very, very close games. And maybe the bye week does something for them. Maybe they fix up their game plan. I mean, obviously that's going to happen. They're going to have a better game plan going into this than the Cleveland Browns with the extra week of work. But maybe that hurts them too. I mean, time off from the game could hurt players too. You lose that momentum, you lose that stride. I don't know. -10 is a lot in a divisional round playoff game. I don't remember the last time a -10 spread has been like this in a divisional round playoff game. I mean, that is extremely high. The thing I am worried about here, and I think this is an actual concern, it might sound silly, Browns are riding pretty high here. They have some confidence right now, and they might go into Kansas City and just get beat down. Like, that's an actual concern. You have a quarterback in Baker Mayfield that's known for his style, his little overconfidence. He has a lot of confidence in himself. Maybe he wakes up feeling dangerous and he goes out there and he throws up 5 touchdowns. I'm not really sure, but I can definitely see an overconfident vibe coming from the Cleveland Browns. Hopefully that's not the case because the Browns winning is a great story, let alone covering the spread. So -10, pretty big for a divisional round game. And I think the the Vegas odds here are underrating the Browns and overrating the Chiefs a little bit.
I do agree with you. I wanted to get a mask to do the whole Stefanski look. Would this work? No, my AirPods are gonna fall
You're
out. But
getting
yes,
you getting that on Twitter, haven't you? And
someone
YouTube.
no no someone commented on YouTube I look like Kevin
Yeah,
Stefanski. So if I keep getting that, I
spreading.
mean Stefanski's not that bad of a looking guy. So I'm like, all right. I mean, I definitely could have heard worse than that. So I'll take it. Anyway, the big thing for me in this game, if they still had Denzel Ward out, I probably would have went with the Chiefs. But now that he's back and he's probably one of the top 10 corners in football, I don't think you can argue that. And they get Kevin Johnson back, who's okay. But at least they get two cornerbacks back, one really good, one decent. That'll definitely help them. Because if you watched the cornerback play against Pittsburgh, yes, they were playing 10 yards off and they were getting out routes for 10, 12 yards every play. But the cornerbacks were not that great for the Browns. Now they get their best guy back and a decent guy back. It'll help them a lot here. And,
Yeah.
Myles Garrett pass rushing here, and then you have Sheldon Richardson and Adrian Claiborne, all these type of guys. And even Malcolm Smith's been all right for them lately. B.J. Goodson, like they have a decent defense, the Browns. It's not the best, I get it. But the key thing, stat that I was looking at is that the Chiefs have allowed 4.5 yards per carry this season. And as we know, the Browns love to run the ball. They can do it effectively. I think they get their really good guard back. What's his name? Batonio. They get Batonio back as well from the COVID
That's
list.
big.
So they're getting guys back. Yeah, they're going to have like a fully healthy offensive line, I think. I don't know about who was the other guy that was out. It was Batonio. Yeah, it was Batonio. They had Wyatt Teller's back. So yeah, they got everybody, I believe. So it's going to be big for them. If they can run the ball effectively, it's a Kareem Hunt revenge game. Remember when they released him? For obvious reasons, but it's a
Yeah, well,
revenge
yeah.
game for Kareem Hunt. So I don't know. I think the Browns stick around. I really do. I think the Browns can put up points on them. I see this as a high-scoring game if the weather's okay, of course. But I see it as like, I don't know, a 27-35 type game. I still think the Chiefs win, but I still think that the Browns, they might be leading at halftime or leading at the end of the first quarter or something. And the Chiefs can put up points in a blink of an eye, basically, because remember last year
Yeah.
they were down 24-0 and were leading at halftime against Houston, which was such a joke looking back on it. But they can score with ease, and it's definitely a concern. But the Chiefs, I feel, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire healthy or no? Because I know he had a bad groin
I
injury or
think
what at one point.
I think he is after this week off.
Yeah.
I think he was
All
fine.
right. So I'd prefer him to be out for this spread and us picking the Browns, but I do love him as a player, so it is good to see him back. But yeah, I mean, I prefer more Le'Veon Bell, but it is what it is. I think the Browns are pretty decent at stopping the run anyway. So as long as they don't let Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman get behind them constantly, I feel like they'll be okay. We'll find out. But I think the Browns will stick around for a while in this game till the very end. I still think the Chiefs win this one by, I don't know, 4-10. And since the spread is a +10 for the Browns, I will take them. So we'll see. For our final game here, it's going to be a good one. The possible final Breeze versus Brady matchup. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans is a -3. The Saints, I'll say it right now, are my favorite bet this week. We'll go over yours later, I guess. But the Saints are my favorite bet. But you're going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here.
Yeah, I mean, if this was a winners pick 'em show, I think I might go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here too. I think they're going to win this
Oh,
game.
man.
I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go out there, and I think that they are going to win this game. And I see that because I feel like everybody's forgotten about playoff Tom Brady for a second here. I mean, let's slow down. This is the best playoff quarterback of all time. All right, he's not rattled by anything anymore. Maybe the weather. I mean, they're playing in a dome, so the weather can't be bad. Maybe it gets loud in the Superdome. He's going to get hazed or whatever. This guy rarely loses to in the playoffs. I mean, rarely. And 7 points for Tom Brady. Is that what that's what it is, right? 7 points.
7? No, it's 3. What are you talking about?
Oh, well,
This
there
spread
you
is
go.
3, yeah.
Wow, 3. All right. Well, that makes it a little more
Did I
complicated.
send it
No,
wrong to
but
you or something, or no?
yeah, you might have. All right, you might have set
No,
me up
I'm
for.
looking. I'm looking right
No,
now. No.
you definitely did not. I was definitely
Look, I'll
thinking
let
of
I'll
the.
let you change if you want, but
No, no,
it
no. I think
says
they're going to win the game.
-3. Yeah,
I
all
think the
right. Go
Buccaneers are
ahead.
going to win the game, so I'm
Keep
going
that
to take
energy.
them regardless. Yeah, no, I will, and you can expose me on Twitter when you're done. I know I'd like to do the same to you, but I think they're going to go out and win this game, and I just think Drew Brees doesn't have it. I don't think he has it anymore against the defense. That's really good. I mean, this Buccaneers defense has been really good all year. They can stop the run, and they can stop the pass, and they can get pressure in Drew Brees' face. I think that's really all you need. And honestly, they didn't look that great against the Chicago Bears. I think if Mims catches that or Wims catches that touchdown pass, that's a whole different ball game. that might be a lot closer than everybody thought. That really lost them momentum there. So that's a mistake that Tom Brady's receivers, who are pretty elite, are not going to make. If Tom Brady makes that throw, they are going to catch that ball. It can be Antonio Brown. It can be Cameron Brate. They're going to catch the ball. They have better
What
weapons all
about
over
what
the
about
field.
Chris Godwin, who dropped like 5 passes last week?
Chris, well, the fact that he dropped 5 passes and they still won brings my confidence up even more.
Fair enough.
I think Washington's front seven is better than New Orleans' front seven, and it looked like Tom Brady was able to handle the pressure a little bit there. They were getting to his face here and there, but it looked like he was able to handle it. I think Tom Brady is going to go to the NFC Championship game and face I don't even know who I have winning, face the Packers. I think it's going to be an Aaron Rodgers. I think that's how you complete it right there. Just put Tom Brady up against everybody on his road to the Super Bowl. I think he's going to win, and I think they are going to move on to the NFC Championship game.
I like your confidence. I'm not gonna lie, but when I look at and it's hard to win 3 games in one season against the same team. But when I look at the matchups that when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the Saints this year, Tom Brady threw like 5 interceptions in 2 games. Like he did not look good whatsoever. The Saints did something against that Bucs offense, and I know one of them was Week 1. I forget the other matchup, what week it was, but the fact that they had him looking that bad kind of tells me something. Like, yes, the Bucs can move the ball probably, but at the same time, the Saints are most likely going to play a mistake-free game. And if the Buccaneers are out here turning the ball over 2 or 3 times, then I feel like the Saints will take this one. They are the home team. It's only 3 points, and I feel like New Orleans is a better roster. It's close, but I still will go with New Orleans here. My one concern is that I think they get Levante David back from the COVID list. If like one of those guys, him or Devin White, like spies Alvin Kamara the whole game and they don't let him get going, that kind of concerns me. And then of course you have who was the cornerback one for this Buccaneers team? I forget his name now, but they have one good cornerback. I forget the dude's name that can be on Michael Thomas. So like they can the matchups do kind of go well for the Buccaneers on defense, but at the same time. Drew Brees is getting the ball out so fast. Like if you watch that Bears game, Khalil Mack was going off, but Drew Brees was getting the ball out in 1.5, 2 seconds, which meant he had no chance whatsoever. So if you eliminate Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, Levante David, and Ndamukong Suh and take away that pass rush and Drew Brees gets the ball out quickly, then all of a sudden you're going to have a no-turnover game. You're going to have a pretty efficient offense. And I agree, the Saints offense did not look that great against the Bears, and they definitely could have played a lot better. This time they'll have to be better, but I think they will because – I just think Drew Brees and this, it's basically his final game if you look at it, because it's a winner go home. This is Drew Brees' last season. I know he's not the same quarterback he once was, but I just cannot see Drew Brees going out on like this terrible note. I think he'll play well. Maybe the Bucs offense outscores him, but I see Drew Brees playing well in this game personally. I don't want to bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs. It's stupid. I saw a stat before, which is crazy. It was like Tom Brady has more playoff wins like at age 39 and over than Drew Brees has in like his career. And like when I saw that, I was like, what the hell? Like it makes no sense. You know what I mean? So like 39 and over, you probably should not be winning any playoff games, but this guy has 9. So yeah, it's hard for me to pick against Tom Brady. But you mentioned the Saints not looking good last week. I would argue that the Buccaneers offense did not look too great last week either. I mean, I think we can agree on that. They definitely looked out of sync in most cases. A lot of bad timing. I mentioned the Chris Godwin drops before. So it's not like the Buccaneers were all that great and we're having 2 offenses that need to play better in this game. I think this is a close game, a high-scoring one. I hope it's like a 31-27 type win for the Saints. I could see the Buccaneers covering or winning, so I'm not going to call you stupid for predicting that win. But at the same time, I still think the Saints are better. I did say I don't see Drew Brees going out on a bad note, so I'll take the Saints there to hopefully win that game by more than 3.
So
So
I have a
that'll
question
do
for
it.
you.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Yep.
Where would the limit be for you? Like if let's say it was 4 points for the Saints, or 5, or 6, or
I
7,
see.
where would
I
you
think
pick the Bucks?
4.5, I think, is where I go.
Really?
I'm that
Okay,
I'm
so it
that
is
close.
close.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right, fair enough.
it is. Who is your favorite bet? Because I didn't get your response before.
Give me the Bucks. Give me
Oh
the
my God.
Bucks.
All
We're
right,
on it.
so
Give me the Bucks. Give me the
we're
Bucks.
just
Guys,
gonna
don't
we're just
listen
gonna
to me.
go
If you're
against each
actually gonna
other.
bet, don't listen. Don't listen. Don't listen. Don't
Oh.
listen to me. If you're going to bet, don't listen to me. But that's my favorite bet.
I like how we're going against each other here. All right, so Saints for me, Bucks for you. Oh wait, you would be a +3 and I'm a -3. All right, well, I'm gonna look for even more forward to that game now, but it should be good regardless, honestly. Anything else you want to cover in NFL land before we get off here? What big news came out about football recently, Andrew? You
I
should
guess
know this. Come on.
Watson.
Do you think he gets
Deshaun
traded or
Watson?
no?
No, no,
No.
no. I don't.
I
I don't.
I want to think he does because it'd be such a cool storyline. And I made that video about him going to the Dolphins possibly because they have the assets and that bum Tua can get traded over there to the Texans. So that didn't trigger you when I called him a
Although
bum.
that, no, 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 because I'm not gonna.
That's what
I'm
I was
not gonna
going
call.
for.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if it's trading for Deshaun Watson, you could be you could call anybody a bum. I mean, you're trading for
Yeah,
Deshaun
it's true.
Watson.
Well, it's
But I
Deshaun
will say
Watson and like
this.
4 draft picks.
Yeah, well, that Andre Johnson thing, that Andre Johnson quote, that was pretty big. I think that might shift it. Him going against his own organization, I mean, that's something.
Yeah. What did he say exactly? That like the Texans ruin people's careers,
Yeah,
basically.
Texans are known for ruining players' career. I mean, that's big. Like for someone that had a
Yeah.
really successful career over there, I mean, that's big.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I have a bad taste with Andre Johnson because
Well,
I
of
drafted
course you
him in
do.
my I'm going to show my age here. In like the 2011 fantasy football season, I drafted him like 6th overall or 5th overall. He was coming off 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Guess what this guy does in week 1, Andrew?
Did he get hurt?
He got hurt, pulls his hamstring. He missed like half the year. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, it's just my luck. And
Mike
then
has beef with everybody.
I do.
Trevor Bauer.
I didn't say anything bad to Trevor Bauer. I just said welcome to Yankee Stadium or something like that. It was I don't like go out cursing players on Twitter. The only time I ever cursed at a player, Andrew, and I will admit this, was it was a Giants kick returner in the 2016 playoffs, Bobby Rainey, and Bobby Rainey received the ball at like the goal line on a kickoff, basically, and ran out of bounds at the 4-yard line. I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I'm watching it from my couch, like. I've never played like legit football in my life, and like I'm realizing like what are you doing? Like you've been playing this game your whole life, and you're running out of bounds at the 4 willingly. I was like so pissed, so I had to. I
Some
said
of these
something like,
players though, like I have I think 62 followers on Twitter, right? I'm like the bottom of the
right,
barrel. I post everything every now and then. You get maybe a like from Mike NYY here and there. After Marcus Stroman bassed the Yankees rotation, I added him in a tweet. 0 likes, 0 comments. I got blocked. I got blocked. I
wow.
I got blocked by Marcus Stroman.
These guys know. These guys
They
know.
know.
They don't always like your tweet, but I feel like they see some of them, you know. So maybe
It's crazy.
I could reach out to Kyrie Irving and hope that he can play sometime soon. So we'll find
Oof,
out.
that's a whole nother
Are
thing,
you
man.
are
I mean,
you're a
wow.
Sixer fan? Were you
Yep.
happy the Sixers did not get James Harden, or did you want him?
I don't know, man. I thought James Harden, I feel like is not good for the Nets. I don't think he is.
I
Maybe
don't
he'll
want to
want
hear
to
it.
play
No.
harder now because he's a championship contender or on a championship contending team. But I feel like the Sixers are rolling right now. I mean, they have a couple injuries, but they're playing well. Joel Embiid's playing like an MVP. So I don't really know if I want that big man on the team. I will say this: whoever that announcer was yesterday that made the comment about James Harden having a pregame meal, that guy deserves a raise. I mean, that was hilarious. And you can hear the guy in the background go, "Hey yo, chill!" Like, "Hey yo, stop." That was very funny.
My favorite comment ever, and this guy sucks, let's be honest, but Booger McFarland, I think it is,
Mm.
had that quote about Kelvin Benjamin. Dave Gettleman took that guy in the first round, by the way, but he had that quote about Kelvin Benjamin. He's like, this guy's a Popeyes biscuit away from being a tight end. Like, I actually laughed when I heard that one. That was great. But yeah, that was my favorite Booger quote of, outside of the obvious ones. That remember that year with Jason Witten and Booger? That was like the most, I hated that Monday
Blah
Night
season.
Football. Yeah,
Hey
that was
Jason,
terrible.
if they score more points this game, they're gonna win the game. Oh, it was
We
horrible.
call we when one of our friends says, you know who we're talking about, sends like
Yeah,
an
yeah,
obvious sports take or something, we my brother always sends him the picture of a Booger
yeah. You know who
McFarlane
you are
gif.
if you're
So
watching it.
man, it's always good. All right, so we're gonna get out of here. Enough football and Booger talk and all that. But hopefully I extend my lead to if I win this week and gain 2 games on you, do I clinch or no? Because that would be how many
Yeah,
games are
you
left
might.
after this?
There's only
I
three
might.
games.
So I would clinch. Hopefully that happens. But I could either
What
clinch
if
a
we
tie or
tie?
a win.
Wow, what if we were to
Yeah.
tie, man? That would be a scripted.
Yeah.
Scripted.
Scripted. Yeah. The refs were in
Yeah.
on it. All right. I don't know. We'll think about something if we tie. I'm sure we can both get punished somehow. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for if you made it to the end. And we will talk to you next week.